FYI, the information on this conference call is intended for educational purposes only. The product that you hear about is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And as always, with any problem, check with your physician first. And today we have Fred Neal to talk to us about the oxygenated water. He's going to talk about some new inventions, and I'm kind of excited to hear about some of the results that they've been getting. Here we go, Fred. There, I'm going to let you have it.
Well, that's tossing it to me real quick there. You didn't even give me a warm-up.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's see. Dave,
before you start, this is David. I've joined the call.
Well, thank you, Dave, for coming on.
Hi, Tommy.
How you doing?
I'm doing real good.
I'll tell you about those pads in a few minutes.
Oh, good. I'll be glad to hear about it.
Okay. Dave, you want to introduce Dave and his...
Yeah, let me introduce Dave. Dave D'Artes has a website called globallight.net, and that's globallight.net. Dave D'Artes has some very unusual products. He also has the oxygenated water, but he's also started with a new product, and that's what they're going to talk about is this new product. The iPads, they have 6-inch pads, and they have 4-inch pads. And that's about all I can tell you about it. All I know is my mama's 86 years old. She puts the pad on her head, on her arm. She puts it just about everywhere, and she's fell in love with it. It used to be the bottle. Now she done switched over to the pad.
Pad's a little more comfortable, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is. A lot more comfortable. And, Dave, tell us about these pads, the iPads, this 4-inch pad, the 6-inch pad, and how they work.
Well, surely. I suppose most of your audience already knows about the liquid manna. And Fred tells us, how the powerful oxygen that's in the bottles just radiates out through the bottles. And we have about 12,000 customers, so we hear from a few people. And people were saying, that bottle is really great, but it's kind of uncomfortable. You roll over it while it's in the bed, and you're not sure if you're going to break the bottle. So Fred and I knocked around some ideas, and I searched for companies who could make up pads for us, where you could put the power of the liquid manna in the pad, and it'd be just a little bit more comfortable. And it turned out I was having some dental work done, and as I left the dentist's office, they handed me a little circular pad that was frozen solid. Said, "Here, put this on your tooth. It'll make it feel better." And as much pain as I was in, I still said, "You got to tell me where you get those pads." And I tracked that company down, and they have a number of different products, but the ones that excited me were the little 4-inch round pads. It's filled with a gel kind of agent. You can't actually freeze it, but the power of the liquid manna is such that you don't particularly derive any benefit out of it being frozen. Just room temperature is fine. Then I found out they also had a larger pad. It's a 6.5-inch pad. And, I find that to be very convenient. I spend way too much time at my keyboard writing emails and answering emails, and my neck will start hurting, and I'll just put that pad on my neck, and first thing you know, you forget that you had a neck ache. It just goes away. Then Fred and Doris talk a lot about the benefits of having the royal on your eyes. I think Fred calls it purple. We call it the royal liquid manna. And so I started working with this company, and we developed an iPad. It's technically, I guess, it's for the eyes. It looks like a little bit like a Lone Ranger mask. It's about 4.5 inches wide. Maybe it's 9 inches wide, and it kind of just wraps around your whole face. But people quickly learned that, my goodness, in fact, I had a neck ache and I just took one of the iPads and wrapped it around my neck instead of across my eyes. It has Velcro straps on it. You can literally wrap it around your knee and connect it with a Velcro, or you could put it on your elbow, or you could put it over your shoulders. It proves to be a very, very versatile way to get the liquid manna right where it hurts. Tommy, is that a good enough explanation?
Well, yeah, I mean that's good. We need some more testimony. The testimony I have is my mother was having problems, having headaches. She feels dizzy and lightheaded, and so I gave her the 4-inch pad to put on her head. So she took a little tam and put it on her head and put the little 4-inch pad up there, and she said it just balanced her out just almost immediately. Well, you know how. You know, your mom was, once the pain is gone, she just throw the pad over there on her dresser. Every time something comes up, I just tell her, I said, Mama, where's your pad at? She said, I forgot about that pad. Let me take that thing, put it over here on my leg, put it over here on my arm. She always feeling kind of dizzy, and so that's what I've noticed with the pad. The iPad, I put the iPad on at night. Oh, it helps you to sleep a whole lot better. But sometime during the day, you know how the back of your head or the back of your neck, working on a computer, you feel that stress and that strain. So I take the iPad and I turn it upside down and I wrap it around, and it has that Velcro, and I put it around my neck upside down.
Yes.
And that's what I have done with the iPad. The 6-inch pad, I take it and I give it to my mother for her large areas on her legs, anywhere she's having pain or stress in her body, and that's what I have noticed that it's done for her. And they're very, very flexible. And yes, they're not like the bottle. Sometimes I think the bottles might break, or I might loosen the top up, and I've got water all over my bed. But so far I haven't wasted any purple water. But these pads are just perfect for just about everything.
I received a testimonial just tonight by email from a friend of mine. We go to the chiropractor every Wednesday and get ourselves adjusted. And Tito was having a great deal of pain in his knees. In fact, he had surgery a few days ago. But while waiting for surgery, he was in a great deal of pain. He got 2 of the small pads, put one on either side of his knee, and wrapped it in an ace bandage. And he sent me an email, and he says, David, it's just amazing. He said, I put those 2 pads on my knee, left it with the ace bandage for the whole day. When I took the bandage off, the pain was gone, and for the following 2.5 weeks until I had the surgery, I had no more pain.
Wow. Dave, would you mind telling us about the price on these pads, and how can we go about getting these pads from you? The iPad, the 4-inch, the 6-inch?
Sure. You already said my website, which is www.globallight.net. But the easy way to order is I have a sales office in Phoenix, and there's an 800 number there. It's 1-888-236-2108. Should I repeat that, Tommy?
Yeah, go ahead and repeat it again.
It's 1-888-236-2108. Either Della or Robert will answer the phone there, and you can place the order. The 4-inch pads we sell for $16. The 6.5-inch pad sells for $25, and we have a combination pack where it's very, very popular. That's the way most are sold. There's 2 of the 4-inch pads and 1 of the larger pads for $50 instead of $57. And then the eye mask. Eye mask is priced at $32. And I suppose that's it. Yeah.
Okay, now what strength is this in this gel pad? I noticed this one says.
I really had to beg Fred on that one. I just felt that people can use the bottle and it's not comfortable and whatever else, but I just said, Fred, please, would you put a little extra charge on those pads? Just to give it that extra boost for that pain. And so Fred kind of goosed it up a little bit to its power of the Royal plus another 25%.
Yeah, that's what I noticed on there.
Oh, and they're powerful. They're powerful.
And for those that don't know what the Royal is the purple.
I'm sorry, yeah. Fred and I are constantly having to convert.
Yeah.
It's red-green for him, and we call that the regular, and it's purple to him, and we call that the Royal. And it is royalty. It's top of the line.
I noticed you had a testimony on there one time where somebody had came up with why and what that energy is doing. Do you care to talk about that a little bit? At one time, I read it one time on one of the conference calls.
I feel like I should defer to Fred on that. It is his development and his technology.
Oh, okay.
And if you're okay with that, Fred, I'd like to throw that ball over to you.
Okay, now what do you want me to say here? I was trying to. He was talking about. I was trying to recall the situation.
There was a lady that had. She was telling about what the water does and how often you should drink the purple water, and what it was doing. Something about it was erasing, and it was erasing the memory of something to the effect of erasing the memory of pain or something like that.
That must have been. That might have come from Libby, did it, Dave?
It sounds like it. If it came from Libby, it would have come with an accent. My wife Libby is Australian, and
I don't. Do you recall the incident enough, Dave, to go ahead and address it? Because I'm drawing a blank on it myself.
Drawing a blank on it. We've had hundreds and hundreds of testimonials, and I'm drawing a blank on that one.
Well, tell us about the what is that? Those Carillion photography.
Oh yeah.
Now that is amazing.
That is amazing, and I think it's this weekend. We'll be taking some more photographs. Carillion for photography, if people are not aware of it, it's a special camera where the film is able to pick up the electrical aura that's around each of our bodies, and it picks it up. Typically, it's a Polaroid type picture, and it will pick up different colors, blues and greens and reds and yellows, and depending on energetically how you're responding to whatever it may be, a vitamin, a supplement, liquid manna, the colors that your aura radiates will change in response to that. We hired a photographer, brilliant photographer. Actually, it was a husband and wife team, and we had probably 6 or 8 volunteers who would come in, and they would have their Carillion photograph taken, and then they would, in most instances, they would drink a half bottle of the purple, and then wait half an hour, and then we'd take another picture of them. And there would be dramatic shifts. Their sense of well-being, their harmony, their aura would just increase in intensity and color. And the couple who were taking the pictures, of all those volunteers, I think there were 6, maybe 8. every single one of them had a response, and it was a very positive response to either putting a pad on their body and then waiting a while, or drinking a half bottle of the Royal. And the couple, you know, they do this professionally, and they, you know, with lots of different products and lots of different people. And their comment to Libby was that they have never ever seen a product where 100% of the people respond and respond positively. And it's just the incredible power of the liquid Manna. It's so well named. It is a Manna for having.
Dave, could I equate that somehow or another to the energy fields?
Absolutely. That's what the photographs are. That's what it's recording. It's the energies emanating from typically around your head is what they take a picture of.
Well, and also I believe you have those pictures posted on your website somewhere there.
Absolutely. I think we managed to get those up this week. If you go to our website, it's at www.globallight.net. And then if you select the category of liquid Manna, we've got about 100 products, but certainly by far the most exciting product we have are the various liquid Manna products. But there will be a link there that you can click on, and you can go off and see those photographs. You can see the before and the after, and the explanation of the shift that occurred when they drank the liquid Manna.
Truly amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
I tell you, I like the sound of this liquid Manna. I need to get on that too, you know.
Like my wife says, David, I was gobsmacked. I've never seen anything like that.
Also, excuse me just a minute while I want to flip back to those pads and the eye mask. Dave, we don't believe those things will ever lose their power, do we?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I've had you check the oxygen radiation of products after a while, and they don't decrease. It's truly amazing. I think it's a forever kind of thing.
Well, I do too, and see, that's one of the things that we were able to achieve whenever we developed this liquid Manna. Not only did we get a high oxygen content like nobody's ever had before, but as long as it's wet, we found out that it will hold its high oxygen level because we have stabilized the water molecule, and it is really incredible. It's an incredible product, even if I do say so. And the Lord gave me this idea. I'm not smart enough to figure this out on my own. In case anybody here is wondering if I'm something special, but I'm just a country boy that was on his deathbed, and I was shown how to come off of that deathbed, and the result of it was the liquid Manna, we call it now. And we just get tremendous testimonies on a daily basis, and Dave is running this stuff all the way over to Australia and other places, and we're shipping it all around the U.S. and England and Canada and Mexico, Hawaii, Alaska, wherever. And the results, the testimonies that we get back are really, really phenomenal. So these pads, these discs, are a really a nice addition to what we're doing. And of course, this is whenever you do something like we're doing with this water, it opens up a whole another world. And like I've told Dave and others, you know, there's 100 different ways that we can go with this. But these are just some of the things that we've come up with, and I guess too, while Dave is here, maybe we want to talk a little bit about the iodine, Dave, and how we were able to come up with that, and what is your first impression, realizing that we've got a product now. Dave is handling it, and but we're also considering further developments on it that's going to make it even nicer. And this was developed in response to this radiation fallout that's coming from Japan, and I already knew kind of what to expect, because I have been to Chernobyl and saw the Chernobyl kids over there just outside of Moscow, and it is such a damnable sight what this radiation and toxic waste and all does to the human body. And so we're trying to anticipate and get that product developed, and we want to be there. What did I say, Dave? With the best when the worst happens.
Yes. You come up with some clever phrases.
So how did you happen to come hit me with the idea of doing this? Do you recall?
Oh, absolutely. When the accident at the nuclear plant in Japan first happened, I think it would be accurate to say there was a panic scene. We sold a little half-ounce bottle of iodine, and had sold a little bit of it steadily for the last maybe 6 or 7 years. Well, when that accident occurred, I sold out within hours, and I simply could not get any more. I started calling around the country trying to find Lugols, trying to find potassium iodide, which is a very common form of iodine, and most places weren't even answering their phone, or if they did answer, they said, we're out, don't call back. It was an alarming scene, and we just try so hard to have important and valuable things available for our customers, and I was helpless. There was nothing I could do. And I was talking to Fred and lamenting the fact that, people have an urgent need for iodine, and we simply cannot get it. And Fred commented, well, I've been kind of thinking about that and wondering what I could do for my family, and I have some ideas about how we could maybe create an iodine product. Well, I jumped on that prospect like a duck on a June bug. And as Fred, you'll have to help me. As best I understand it, what Fred has captured, in a sense, is the energy, the frequency, the signature of oxygen, and imbued that into water and made this miraculous liquid manna. What he's done with the iodine is a comparable thing. I supplied him the different forms of iodine that I had. He had some other forms of iodine, and what Fred was able to do is to capture the frequency, the vibration, the signature, whatever you want to call it, of 4 different iodines and imbue those all into a single product. One of the explanations that Fred gave me, and my wife picked up on that idea as well, is that before your body can make use of anything you consume, whether it be milk, bread, or aspirin, your body converts that to the energy, and that's what our bodies are an electrical, energetic machine in a sense, and it's the energy, it's the vibration, it's the frequency of things that the body responds to. And in a way of understanding this is that Fred has captured the frequency of iodine, and if you want, cut out one step. Instead of going through the form of a physical iodine to the energy of iodine, he's gone straight to the energy of iodine. And it's all the various forms of iodine that we had available to us. Makes it a very powerful product. And the concept, for people who don't know and understand the power and the value of liquid manna, it might be a little harder to grasp. When all of us, though, have experienced liquid manna and see what it can do, the energy, if you want, of oxygen can do for us, then it's not such a big step to understand the concept of the energy of iodine. We, working together with Fred and Doris, we term it essence of iodine, and that's the name of the product. I think I should mention, as a special thanks to Fred and to the people that he works with, we normally sell the essence of iodine for $32. It's a 1 ounce bottle. It has, I had enough of Fred's people ask me that I finally had someone on staff sit there and count how many drops are in that bottle, and it's a little over 700. We recommend, Fred prefers, I think, 6 drops twice a day. I'm more inclined to suggest to people that they take 12 drops at once each day. Do the arithmetic. You know, a bottle of the essence of iodine will last you for a while, at least a couple of months. I should also mention that for infants, we recommend maybe 4 or 5 drops. But beyond the age of 4 or 5, we find that children can take the same as the adult. The beauty of it is that this form of iodine, you get all of the benefits, but none of the side effects. We began to learn that you have to be a little bit careful with Lugol's iodine. You have to be a little bit careful with potassium iodide. There can be some side effects, some reactions that are maybe not good. So when you're working with the essence of iodine, that isn't a concern, but we do find that 4 or 5 drops is enough for an infant.
And how long will that last? The frequency in that in that liquid.
Oh goodness, that's probably a question that Fred should answer. But since it's the same concept technically to make the iodine as to make the liquid manna oxygen water, I think it's a forever product. It's not going to lose that frequency.
I'd have to agree with you, Dave. I think it is too. We're also looking to enhance that with another thing or two. You've got 3 types of cesium that comes out in these radiation fallouts, and we want to incorporate those into it, and that's one of the things that we're looking at now. It'll just I think we're good like we are, but if we can make it a little bit better, well, then we'll do that. And the beauty part about it, it's a homeopathic solution, and like David said, we deal in energy levels because the body responds to energy levels, and so we put this in our regular liquid manna elevated oxygen level water, and what this does, it takes the iodine up to a very high level without affecting the body, without any side effects, and the body can handle it. It deals with energy levels. So whenever you're talking with a very high energy level, then when this fallout hits the body, and it is going to be overcome by this high energy level that we have designed into this product. And so we've got it's one of a kind. There's no doubt about that. There's nobody else doing what we're doing with this, and I think it's going to be something that, I know based on what I have read and understand about nuclear problem areas, that it's going to be with us for years to come, probably. So this is good that we've got a jump start on it. We do have some people on it that I'm monitoring. We do pick up a little bit of radiation already in this part of the country, and not of any particular consequence, but it's good that we can pick that up and then measure what's in there and in the body, and then take the iodine. Well, then we can see that it will dissipate that radiation that's in the body already. So we're really quite excited about it, and we've got some people that's going to be going out on the West Coast, and those people have been hit pretty hard with this radiation fallout, and I've made arrangements to have half a dozen of them work with me, kind of as guinea pigs, to explore where they are, and then before and after we'll get a much better feel for what we're looking for and how far we need to take this thing. But I'm quite excited about it. I think it's going to be a product equal to the liquid manna. It's basically a liquid manna designed for a little bit different arrangement, but I think we're going to be real happy over a period of time with it. And beauty part is we can respond to whatever quantity that was going to be needed, and there's going to be a lot of people needing it.
Okay, well, I know a lot of people out there are going to have some questions, and I'm going to open up the line so that so people can ask questions about it, because that is those two very good, very important products. And those that would like to ask some questions, you feel free to ask Fred and Dave these questions.
Tommy, before you open it up, I would like to address the issue of iodine just a bit. It may not be universally known. The importance of iodine, let's say it this way, there's a brilliant doctor, David Brownstein, who's written a number of books about iodine. He suggests that at least 80% of the population is deficient in iodine. The problem with radioactive iodine being in our environment is that our body, when it's iodine deficient, is desperately looking for iodine from any source it can find it, even if it's radioactive. If your body is saturated with iodine, if your thyroid has all the iodine that it would like and needs, then the radioactive iodine is not attractive to it, and it just passes on by. So the importance, a number of people have asked me, should I, even though the radioactive iodine has not reached our area, should I start taking the iodine, the essence of iodine? And the answer is yes, yes, yes. You want to have your thyroid saturated with iodine so that it's not going to try to take in the radioactive iodine. The hazard is, I'm told, Fred may know more than me, that most of the victims of Chernobyl died from the after effects of radioactive iodine. Your body takes in the radioactive iodine. In the case of women, the thyroid provides iodine to the breast tissue and also to the tissue in the ovaries. In the case of men, to the prostate. So if you allow your body, through deficiency, to take in radioactive iodine, then it's sending that radioactive product out to those other sites in your body and puts you at great risk and peril. So that's kind of the mechanism and the importance of iodine in this kind of situation. The other radioactive particles, like cesium and strontium and plutonium, they act differently, and frankly I don't yet understand how it works, but it's not quite as aggressively taken in by the body as radioactive iodine is if you're deficient in iodine. I just thought that background might be helpful, Tommy.
I appreciate that. That does shed a lot better light. I'm gonna open up the line where people can ask questions and about the pads and the iodine, the essence of iodine. Do you have any questions?
What? Yes, question. Is this an iodine or an essence of iodine? In other words, it is not truly an iodine, but just the frequency of the iodine.
Yeah, we have it's like our water. If you're familiar with it, we do our operation on the water after the water is bottled at the bottling plant, and we are able to electronically, if you will, put that oxygen in there. But then whenever somebody goes to the hospital and they check them for oxygen and all, well then they're reading the oxygen that's in the body. We're dealing with energy levels, which is hard to understand, but that's what we're doing. And I'm kind of stumbling here because I don't want to lead anybody astray, but we don't open the bottle and pour oxygen in the water. We don't open the bottle and pour iodine in the water. But whenever you send it to the lab, then they're going to measure iodine. Is that a fair explanation?
Yes, but again, so it is not the physical properties of iodine, but only the electrical or frequency of the iodine.
Yes, we're picking up the energy of the iodine, and that has its own signature, and we're able to identify it and put it into the product.
So, is there also dangers of overdosing, like you do, with a Lugol solution?
No, because we're doing this on a homeopathic situation, and it's like oxygen. You can't overdose on oxygen.
Correct. Okay.
So we got a situation here where your body should respond very nicely to it, and I see no way that you're going to be able to overdose on it.
So if it is just the frequency or the essence of iodine, then it's a clear liquid?
It's yes, we put it in clear liquid.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we do have some people that, if you would, you have some background noise, press star 6, and you can ask some questions. Do you have any other questions?
As Fred was talking, it brought to mind a situation. A friend of ours in Washington State was in the hospital in intensive care, and we had sent her some bottles of liquid Manna. It was the Royal, and she was on all kinds of equipment. They were monitoring, her pulse rate and her oxygen levels and whatever else. Well, an alarm went off because her oxygen levels had gotten too low, and the nurses came running in, and Joni said, I realize that it's saying my oxygen is low, but if you would hand me that bottle of Royal and put it right next to my body, I think you're going to see something very amazing.
Cool.
And within a few seconds, the alarm stopped going off because she was getting oxygen through the bottle into her body. When they took the bottle away, the alarm went off again. And so the nurses called in the doctor, and Joni explained to them as best she could in her condition that the oxygen was coming from that bottle, and that was addressing her low oxygen levels. And as you would expect, the doctor and walks off. That's not believable. But it's real.
And how much is that iodine, the essence of iodine?
The essence of iodine, the regular retail price on my website is $32, but if people on this call call my sales office in Phoenix at 1-888-236-2108. We are offering it for your friends Tommy and Fred's for $25 instead of $32. Actually, a number of Fred's people have called and ordered quite a lot. When they order, one fella ordered 25 bottles, another fella ordered 13 bottles.
Wow. And that number again is 888-236?
2108.
2108.
What I was about to say is that if people want to reach out and provide this to friends and family and neighbors and buy larger quantities, if they buy a dozen, we'll offer to them at $20 a bottle. It's just our way of trying to help.
Very good, very good.
But when they call that number, Tommy, they have to identify that they're a friend of Tommy Lee or they're a friend of Fred.
Okay.
What if you tell them they're a friend of Dave's?
You be nice.
They hang up the phone? Just kidding. We have a lot of fun. I work with Dave quite closely here, and we have a lot of fun. And I think I think this is, I'm 78, and if I'm gonna do anything, I'm gonna have fun doing it. And if we can do something like this to help people, well, then that makes the fun all the better, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
And what about these products that are increasing the gas mileage?
Oh boy.
Well,
Fred, you want to touch that one?
Well, I didn't know he was gonna do that. But yeah, we're also working on some things that will help increase the fuel mileage on your vehicle. We've seen some pretty interesting things already. Dave has got some real nice experiences, and then he's also has somebody that's working with these big over-the-road trucks, Peterbilt and Kenworth, and I think it's fair to say that it looks like right now we're getting something like 20% increase in fuel mileage, Dave?
The lowest report we've had is 15%. The highest is 20%.
Okay.
And the variable seems to be, the tests that we're running are in Utah, and they've had some weather conditions. They're still having, up in the mountainous area, they're still having snow and ice. They're having some pretty fierce winds blowing through there. So in adverse conditions, it'll drop as low as 15% improvement. It's early, but there are some engineering problems because we're talking about water that's even intenser in oxygen than the royal or the purple. And I guess I kind of have a theory about what's happening. My theory is that when you transfer the oxygen from water into fuel, it makes the fuel more explosive, if you want. It ignites, it burns at a higher rate, and that's what's accounting for the improved mileage. If that's indeed how it's working, I fully expect that at some point we're going to start seeing lower emissions as well. If you burn a higher percentage of your fuel, then less of it is blowing out the back, as pollution. But right now we're dealing with engineering issues. How do you safely put water? What kind of a container or device or a structure can you use to put water into a diesel tank of a big truck without leaking water into their fuel? And we've had some interesting challenges, but I think we're very close to solving that problem. it's going to have an enormous impact for anyone in the trucking business, anyone with tractors. I mean, we did some investigating at a rail yard. These engines that run the trains, they have like a 4,000-gallon tank, and the oxygen, it just works magic when it's in the fuel. And we're using a slightly different technique for cars, and I'm not sure we're getting that high yet. The challenge with cars is with the way the
computers.
Well, yeah, the computer, that's certainly an issue. But the other issue is, how do you get a device through the place where you fill up your tank? Typically, that'll run kind of a curving route down to where the fuel is actually stored.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're looking at the concept of putting the energetic charge, the oxygen charge, onto some standard additive as the way to get the oxygen into the fuel.
It's kind of like, excuse me, Dave. It's kind of like putting a tablespoon of your regular in a gallon of water. It'll go ahead and energize that whole gallon to the level of the regular. So we're using that same principle, and we're getting some interesting results. We're not there yet, but I'd say that it is looking promising, wouldn't you, Dave?
Oh, absolutely. I looked up. I have an old 2003 Ford Expedition, and I looked up on the internet what are the mileage expectations for that vehicle, and all over the internet I found that you can expect 13 miles to the gallon around town and 16 on the highway. Well, with our early experiments, I'm getting a little over 16 around town. Out on the highway, I'm getting off close to 20. And I'm not sure that's quite 20% improvement yet, but it's on the right track. The concern, some of it I think flows from what's happening in Japan, but there are lots of other issues in the Middle East, and the expectation is that the cost of fuel is going to skyrocket. I've heard they expect that gasoline could be $6 by the summer and could be $10 by the end of this year. And places an awful lot of urgency and concern on fuel economy.
Well, let me open up the line. Can they use those pads on their gas tank?
I've experimented with that some, Tommy, and I have a great big diesel truck that I bought so I can go visit Fred and buy a lot of water. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to dump that truck and drive out there and pick up about 13,000 bottles. I first tried putting a pad, liquid Manna, the outside of the fuel tank. And I get a little bit of an increase, but it's not the same. I created an assembly yesterday. I placed it in the fuel tank of my truck. It's a 90-gallon diesel tank. And the next time we're on a call, I'll give you the results. I'm hoping that I'll get the same 20% that we're seeing in Utah with those great big diesel rigs. Mine's not a small truck, but it's not an 18-wheeler either. And my everyday normal mileage on it is 6.4 miles to the gallon. So I'm hoping for 8, maybe 8.5. But by Saturday night, I'll know that answer.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Press star 6 to unmute yourself.
Well, Fred, when you ship the water, you ship it to us. The purple, you wrap it in foil because it infiltrates the other bottles and makes them with a higher charge. Is this osmosis of energy only possible with water, or is it also possible with alcohol?
I think we can do this with just about any kind of liquid, and we're trying to do this very thing on the diesel and gasoline, and we're working at that from two different angles. One is the additives, like Dave was talking about. Another one is a device that we would actually put some of the water down into the fuel tank and get that radiation, if you will, of that energy then into the fuel. And that's where we are right now, and it's looking very, very promising.
Yeah, I sort of in that vein, I think I mentioned earlier, we have 50 or 60 different products, and we started creating pads that we can put on our product shelves, and we set the products on those pads. I'm of the belief that there's nothing that's harmed by having more oxygen in virtually every product, even some that are not liquid, are benefited by being in the presence of the liquid manna. So all of our products sit on our shelves, sitting on liquid manna. Before that, we would take bottles of the purple and scatter it among the products on the shelf, just to, I feel like, we sell, for example, a lot of the Miracle 2 soaps, and every one of those bottles has been sitting next to the purple. We think that enhance the soap and give us a competitive edge. Most importantly, it will make every product more beneficial for having been in the presence of that oxygen. If you're taking other medications at home, I think it's a brilliant idea to set them close to a bottle of the liquid manna. They are enhanced by that oxygen.
We do hand lotions and cosmetics and things like that around here.
Yeah, I put one in my refrigerator, put it in my medicine chest, I put it everywhere. And I agree with him.
And it's you're not going to dissipate the energy level, so you might as well use it. You have it, and see, this gets back also to the basic water idea, where you would put a bottle of the Royal in your bathtub and energize that whole tub. Well, you don't decrease the energy of the Royal after you're through and you've emptied the tub. Take the Royal out and use it as if it was a brand new bottle, because it still is. It hasn't lost its energy. You see what I'm saying?
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's an interesting product, to say the least, that we have here.
Yeah.
I've been working here lately with I have quite a large garden, and I have some things that are starting to come in. I have Swiss chard. I'm able to harvest, and lettuce and sweet peas. And I found that if I soak those vegetables in the liquid manna, like put a tablespoon or two in your sink water and soak those vegetables, it's amazing that they will last in the refrigerator 2 or 3 times as long as you would expect. Again, they're enhanced. I think the nutritional value of them are enhanced, but certainly their ability to stay fresh is greatly enhanced by the oxygen.
And there are people too that have noticed their milk will stay good longer too if they set it in the presence of this liquid manna.
You put the bottle in the refrigerator?
Yeah. Yeah, you can take that bottle with you wherever you want to go. Put it in the refrigerator. Sleep with it. Take it with you when you're driving down the road. You name it. It's your friend.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I did not understand was that it did not lose any of its energy, because I slept with it after some surgery on my stomach.
This is Diane.
It made a big difference.
Did you look at the first trough?
I don't know. There's some crosstalk or something on there.
Yeah, somebody interrupted you. Could you say that again? Ask that question again.
Well, what I was saying was I did not know, and I always had feared that I was dissipating some of the energy in the purple bottle, the purple, or the what you guys call the Royal.
Royal.
Yeah, and I had an experience. I had lap band surgery, and I had a real big problem. And I put the bottle next to my stomach, and it was amazing. The next day I did not have the pain, but I thought I was sucking energy from my body into the bottle, so I didn't know that it did not take it away from the bottle.
No, it is really incredible. We didn't know this when we developed it. It just happened to be one of the blessings that came with the development of the thing. And I have been asked the question on a few occasions: does anything dissipate it? And the one thing that I would be concerned about if you live in the vicinity of a huge electrical transformer or something like that, if it was in the next room or something like that, well, I would be suspicious of that, because they put out a lot of energy level, and I've never really tested it to see if I don't think it would dissipate it, because we have a different energy that we're putting in there than what the electrical people use, and so I don't think it would hurt it, but I would be suspicious if there was a big transformer or something nearby. I wouldn't set it near it. But otherwise, I can't think of any situation where it's going to cause that energy level to dissipate. We run it through the microwave, and that doesn't do it. You know, a microwave generally destroy just about anything. So.
Well, one of the things I told Fred was what amazed me in the morning, that the bottle was hot, almost hot. The water was almost hot.
And we've had that same report from several people. Even my wife experienced it early on, and I'm still trying to come up with an explanation for that. But it just occurs to me, and this is me and me only, so don't take this to the bank or anything, but it's just that healing value that water is doing is somehow it's raising the temperature in that water in the process. That's the only thing I can think of.
Well, Fred, this is Fran. If I put this bottle in my pantry, how far out is the energy going to go?
Well, you know, Fran, somebody, that's a good question. Somebody called in, and I don't remember if it was on Tommy Lee's call sometime back, but they said that they had a way of detecting the energy on that bottle, and they could detect it up to 100 feet away. Now, I do not know what kind of testing or anything like procedures that they were using, equipment or whatever, but they said they could pick it up 100 feet away. So if you get it anywhere near your body, well, you're going to get the effects of it. And I tell people, incidentally, if you put it on your stomach, it'll no doubt go all the way through your body.
Right. I know that. I sleep with it, but I was thinking after listening to this call, I was thinking of putting it in the pantry and hoping that it would sort of energize everything.
Well, it will. Mm-hmm. It will. Go ahead and do it. You're not going to lose the value or the energy of the liquid manna. But you'll enhance the other things like Dave is talking about. He's got a warehouse, and he's doing the same thing in his warehouse, but he's using a much larger space, and he's got more bottles, or he's arranged his warehouse in such a manner that most everything in there gets the extra energy.
And he does have some. Go ahead, Fran.
Okay, I have a tree in my backyard, and I live in Southern California. It's a lime tree, and I have not had a lime in 4 years since it was planted. And could I put the bottle like near the root system and just let it sit there? It gets hot here. I mean, I live in the desert area, Palm Springs area.
Well, you can do that. probably put that bottle in a container of water and let it go ahead and charge it up like your bathtub, and then maybe pour that on there. I'm kind of opposed to putting our bottles in direct sunlight. Is why I'm hedging here, because I just don't like the sunlight hitting the plastic and stuff like this. And we've seen a lot of adverse effects from colas and things that they took to Iraq and over in the Middle East and let them sit out, and then people would drink those things because it changes the drink inside those cans. It's not going to change our water. It's just that it might cause the bottle to leach or something, even though our bottles are the safest, they tell me, at the bottling company as far as leaching is concerned. I prefer to keep it in the shade or in a cool space, like in your pantry or something like that.
But if I were to put the bottle in a bucket of water and then go pour that water on the lime tree, how long do you think I should put the bottle in the water?
Well, just leave it overnight if you've got the luxury of that time. Now, you understand, whenever I was developing this, I had 7 ponds on my place there in Arkansas, and I had 4 ponds that I really was doing my testing in, and I would put one bottle. And these are not large ponds; they're typical farm ponds. But I'd put one bottle in there and leave it, and I'd check the oxygen level. And whenever I got it up to where, well, it's so high, I didn't know how much higher I should take it. I took it out, but took the bottle out, and then 2.5 years later, I checked the oxygen level in that pond, and it's still at that high level of oxygen. Now, also, let me read a testimony that just came in here from Diane in Oklahoma recently. She said, I put one of the purple bottles in the horse tank, unopened, as it was so terribly polluted, and today, when I went down, it was so clear I could see all the way to the bottom. Wow, just like you say about the ponds. My renter of the pasture runs cattle and was going to pour a gallon of bleach in the tank, but I told him not to, as I was going to do something. I bet he is really surprised when he sees how clear the water is and didn't have to subject his cattle to drinking bleach. Those are just some of the benefits, and I have a situation in Longview, a town west of us here in East Texas, and this lady had this. It was just a pool of water. It was stagnant, and it was so horrible, and the pH on it was down in the 5 level whenever we started work on this thing. And I told her, I said, don't even put your hand in there, because that thing is acid according to the pH scale. And I had her put 2 or 3 bottles in there, and it took a few months, and finally that thing just totally cleared up. And this has been quite some time back. And I was talking to her last night, and I said, is that pond still clear? She said you can see everything on the bottom of it, and it'll stay that way now, regardless whether it rains in it or not. Well, then that water is elevated at that high level, and the rainwater that comes in there, or even the evaporation or anything like that, it's still got its oxygen. You understand? And that's what is so phenomenal about this product. Now, you live in Southern California. You might consider one other thing is do yourself do a drip operation. Just to have and you
I'm
can go
thinking about what you're saying, right? Exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and that,
I have all these shrubs. I have probably 15 large shrubs that have been in my backyard, and the yard that I moved in 2006 is extremely alkaline. It used to be farmland, And so minerals are completely sucked out of this thing. And where I came from before, 20 miles away, was pretty much sandy, and you could put anything in the ground, it would grow. Where I live now is so challenging, it's crazy. So I was just thinking of testing like half this yard. And when you look outside, these trees are struggling. It's so different from where I lived before in another area of where I live. And so I was just thinking the same thing, is to set up a test, because that would be such a great story. Everybody where I live has the same conditions. It's extremely alkaline.
Well, you just opened up something that's exciting, Tommy Lee and Dave, because they have some very first-hand information on go ahead and tell them about your the product that you have, the soap product.
The Miracle 2. The Miracle 2 product is the product.
Yeah.
If you bathe with Miracle 2, you can take your bath water and put your bath water out there on your yard, and it will clear everything up. For that tree that you got planted, and you need to take 2 ounces of neutralizer in a gallon of spring water and
What's
spray
neutralizer? I don't know what you're talking about.
Miracle 2 has 2 products. They have a soap, a detergent. It's a green soap. It's a very concentrated soap made by Clayton Teddington. And they also have a neutralizer. The neutralizer, if you take it, 2 ounces of neutralizer, put it in a gallon of spring water, and spray it up and down over that lime tree, it will reactivate that plant to come alive, put out blooms, and you'll start seeing lemons. Spray it about 3 times. Spray it one day, rest a day, spray it the next day, and spray it all over, and then rest. Do it 3 times, but in between, rest a complete day. The neutralizer will reactivate that tree to put blooms out and put out fruits.
It also reactivates that soil.
Yes.
And
if your soil is too alkaline, it will make the soil, balance the soil out, where the soil will be, it will bring it down to 7.2. You can also mix up.
Where do I get the Miracle 2?
Well, I sell it. You can find it on Global Light Networks. We move quite a bit of the soap and neutralizer. You can give me a call after the conference call, or you can email us. My email is tommymlee@gmail.com. TOMMYMLEE@gmail.com.
Okay.
And we just had a guy on our conference call Tuesday night. He is the organic. He has the best organic farm in northeast Texas, and he was telling us how to use molasses and garlic for insects, seaweed, kelp, and we had another guy named Lonnie Downs. He showed us how to use molasses, the soap, and the neutralizer to grow just about anything. And we're talking about blackstrap molasses, unsulfured blackstrap molasses.
Okay.
I would love to test
this tree, because this thing is like, it's crazy. Usually everything grows everywhere out where I live here, and this tree, I mean, we have tons of sunshine. It isn't that it's in a bad spot. It may be in a little different spot than my other trees that are getting fruit, but it's really the soil, because all of the trees that I'm trying to make in the backyard, I'm trying to make the yard real private, and they're just not growing. They've been in there like 5 years, and these shrubs are like, they've grown a couple feet, but when the heat comes, they suffer. I mean, it's so weird. To put a flower in the ground, you need a shovel. It's crazy, because it's like clay. If it rains here, we get flooded because it does not soak in. The soil is really, really weird.
Yeah, if you have see what the soap does with clay. Clay is not porous. It breaks the clay down so it will absorb the moisture and drain. It makes sandy soil where it's absorb moisture, and it will be able to hold moisture. You can take a ball of sand, make a ball up a fist, and it'll hold its shape. And you'll be able to take a ball of clay, pour water on it, put the soap on it, and it makes it wetter, and it will flow through the clay.
I would absolutely love to test that in my yard and take a picture of half the yard, both sides.
Go ahead and take a picture of it now.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, we've got some information to share with you that will show you how to produce something from nothing. The guy that we had on our conference call, he was growing products in the Sahara Desert over in Egypt.
Really?
His name is Lonnie Downs.
Wonderful.
But I see it's getting late. We do have a lot of other people that might want to get off the call. They may have other.
I'm sorry.
but if you have any questions, I do want to thank Dave D'Artez for coming on our call, for giving his website. For those that would like to order his product, you can go to his website at globalight.net, globalight.net. And if you call and you want to order his products, that toll-free number is 888-236-2108. 888-236-2108. Just make mention that you heard it. You were referred to his call from Tommy Lee's conference call, and he'll give you that discount. Wow, that's an enormous discount. Does anyone have any other questions?
Tommy, I'm going to have to fade away. I write a newsletter every Thursday night.
I do agree with you. Thank you for coming on the call. We appreciate you, and we hope we can send you a lot of customers.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And those that would like to play back this call, you can play it back. It's 712-432-1085. 712-432-1085. I think I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and